everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, where we are fully in spring training at this point. Right before we hit the go live button, like 5 minutes prior, we saw the video of Anthony Santander walking up to the complex, greeting all the boys, doing all of that, and it was freaking awesome, everybody. So we are fully in the swing of spring training. We got to talk about what Ross Atkins came out and discussed yesterday, along with some other updates in regards to some of these, various MLB players, Bichette, Dalton Varsho, everything like that. But let me just say, I am so happy that baseball is back.
Yeah, me too, guys. What's up? I'm your host, Adam Peddle. Guys, welcome in Leah. Welcome in Laura, Eton, Matt, Maple Leafs Forever 99, Brody. Welcome in, everybody. Baseball is back. And what I love about, the spring training time, just like I was telling you, Nick, right before we hit the live button, is I love how the content is just there. We see a video of Anthony Santander rolling up, and I get the butterflies, Everyone's dapping him up in the parking lot, and I'm thinking in my head that they're thinking, dude, you're here to save us, because that's exactly what I'm thinking.
He is, man.
He's literally, bro,
saving the franchise. All right, like it's gonna save the franchise one homer at a time, dude. Okay, let me, before we get into everything, because we're gonna talk about some Bichette stuff,
big
Varsho
stuff,
all that stuff. But before we even get into all that, what would be like? Okay, give me your expectation for Anthony Santander, and then what's kind of like the now I'm not happy anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying this guy to hit home runs. So for me, it's 35 bombs plus. 40 is a lot to do, and he only did it one time in his career. So if this is the prime that we're getting you in, give me 35 plus. And I think but there's a gray area between 30 and 35 where if you hit that, I'm like, okay, like you still put up home runs. Like that's probably where Vladdy's going to land this year realistically. Okay, like we were missing that last year. I'm not happy once it dips below 30. Yeah. And maybe I'm being a little bit picky, like, oh, it's 29. No, seriously, like I'm getting a little bit upset if it gets under 30 because that's what you're getting paid for.
I think that's super fair. Unless, of course, like for whatever reason, the batting average just goes through the roof, or on base goes through the roof. But yeah, ultimately, right. If we look at who he's been as a player overall, yeah, this should be a over 30 home run guy. Get that slugging close to 500 if you can. You know, you're probably going to get somewhere in the mid 200s batting average, but that's okay if you have 35 home runs.
Exactly right, and you're right. Like Vladdy last year, even though he did hit over 30 home runs, I was okay because his batting average is second in the MLB.
Did he hit over 30?
I thought he did. I think
he might be tripping, bro.
Am I tripping? Fact check me.
I'm going to fact check you because I think he was like high 20s. Maybe I'm tripping, but either way, it is extremely exciting to see our new brand spanking acquisition lineup coming in.
Also, I would expect over 100 RBIs. 90 to over 100 RBIs. You're going to be right there with Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. batting right in front of you. I say you got to get over 100.
Oh, he was right at 30.
Okay,
so we're both kind of right. But yeah, so I certainly hear what you're saying. I mean, like the home runs can dip if the batting average goes up, but ultimately we're paying you to smack dingers, and I expect you to hit dingers. Now, we're paying Mr. Bichette right now, not a ton, but what he is getting paid, it's to get on base, and it's to potentially be up there leading the league in hits. A lot of people, us included, have been thinking about Bichette in terms of this being his last year here. We've heard comments from him before saying he wants to be on a winner. We've heard, reports from various MLB analysts saying that people close to Bichette believe that he is not going to be coming back to Toronto. He has no interest in coming back here. There were some comments from Bo and also from Ross Atkins yesterday talking about this entire situation. So we're going to start with the Ross Atkins comments and then kind of transition to Bichette. But apparently Ross Atkins brought up the Bichette extension and was kind of leaving the door a little bit more open than I think a lot of us expected it to be.
Yeah, I like the way that Keegan puts it here, saying, it was unprompted, in the parentheses right here. This was not asked, hey, do you think that you're going to extend Bichette to Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Like, they've been asking for, Bichette and Dalton Varsho, like they've been asking with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But totally unprompted, he said that Bichette and Dalton Varsho, they are exciting players, of course, who we would like to keep here for an extended period of time. Now, again, like, is Ross going to come out here and say, no, I don't want to extend these guys? But here's the thing. This was unprompted, right? It's not like he had to defend or give a blanket political statement. He just brought this up. I want to keep Bichette and Dalton Varsho here for an extended period of time, which, again, we haven't really been thinking about too much because we've been in this whole Vladimir Guerrero Jr. fiasco. But let's talk about that a little bit. Let's really dive in right here. Assuming Bichette bounces back and gives you a good quality Bo Bichette year. Is that something that you'd want to explore? And what would a deal like that even look like?
So a year prior, the answer from every Toronto Blue Jays fan was unequivocally yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year happened. And I think it's a mixture of so many different things that, people aren't happy with, right? The play wasn't good. There was injuries and, concerns with the health. These are two big red flags right there. Mm-hmm. And then on top of all of that, you had concerns with the mental aspect of things and just his attitude towards this team and his camaraderie with the coaches and the teammates and everything like that. It's like basically everything that could go wrong for Bo went wrong. And the entire narrative shifted for everyone, I think, in Blue Jays land. It's like, oh, no, it's Vladdy now. Vladdy's the extension
Especially
guy.
When he's doing so good, Vladdy.
But let's not forget the 5 years prior to last season where Bo Bichette, was right up there as being one of the better, just overall hitters in baseball. And after 2023, I remember that the talks were, well, maybe Bo Bichette's the guy that gets extended and not Guerrero. And then, of course, last year transpired and that completely did a 180 and flipped on its head. So ultimately, it matters to me what version of Bo that we get. I wouldn't be willing, if I was the Toronto Blue Jays, to ink an extension now. I think that you need to, honestly, I think that you need to see a little bit of play. I think that you need to see him in spring training. You need to see how he's approaching his work, how he looks, everything like that. But should he return back to form, and most importantly, should he genuinely want to be here, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of approaching this Bo Bichette situation like we kind of approached Vladdy last year, except now there's obviously just 1 year left of Bo Bichette where let's see what you can do and let that set your price tag. Because again, if he does exactly what he does, I mean, where does that put him right now in terms of a contract value? Because you got to remember, this guy is young, just 1 year older than Mr. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He'll be 27 this season, going into 28 year for next year when he's an unrestricted free agent. That's still a lot of youth right there that you could probably buy. And honestly, I looking at the contracts they're kind of throwing around this year, at least 150, if not 200 million, if you're paying for those extra years
if he
of
gets
juice
back to where he was,
exactly right. Where I start off is like, if he gets back to where he is, where he has been before last year, then yeah, $200 million. Now, is that something the Blue Jays can afford? I mean, I was doing some digging right here. I love Fangraphs for this reason. They're very accurate when it comes to payrolls, and I absolutely love them for it because they also include luxury tax and all these other kind of things like arbitration as well. But they have it right here. In 2026, we're down to 152 on the payroll, down to 152, but we're at 273. So if the spending of the Blue Jays don't change, I mean, yeah, if you're just looking at AAV, I mean, there would be a space for Bo Bichette on this team beyond 2025.
It could be. It would be a big-time investment for Toronto, and ultimately, I think that Ross Atkins didn't have to say that, but,
right.
He's leaving all the doors open, because ultimately, should Bo Bichette return to form and should they not reach an extension with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and he hits free agency as well as Bo Bichette, well, potentially a strong backup plan, would be to re-sign Bo Bichette. Again, if he returns to form, then the fan base is going to be really happy about that. So, I think he's keeping all of the doors open right now. I do still believe that getting Bo and Guerrero on extensions, assuming again that both of them play very good next year and are, worthy of hundreds of millions of dollars, that to me feels like an extremely tall task and one that I don't think that they're going to be capable of. So Vladdy is still the number one, and he's going to be the number one priority, but Ross is doing his due diligence as the GM and leaving all of the doors open right now, Bo Bichette being one of them.
Yeah, and again, if Bo goes back to where he was prior to 2024, I mean, that's a quality player that we all wanted extended. So we'll see how things play out, but this is a conversation that's probably going to be put on the table, put a pin in it for now until we see exactly what Bo Bichette is and where we're at in terms of a franchise and if we're winning, if we're losing, because that also plays an impact too. If we suck next year, and Bo's has a good year, I might just get the hell out of here.
Well, and same with Vlad.
Same with Vlad, right? All these things could change depending on how the season rolls out. Now, I did see Laura Lee Z, shout out to her in the chat. She was talking about how Keegan Matheson did come out with a tweet and an article talking about Bo Bichette and his comments about the extension. And this is very interesting to note. He comes out here and says, just kind of the highlights right now, that he hasn't had any sort of talks with the Blue Jays about extensions, but he and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. still want to play together. He said, Vladdy's one of my best friends, and we've had tons of conversations. I encourage you guys, go check out the article, give it a full read. There's a couple little snippets in here that, he brings up and talks about, saying that, but from his perspective, he grew up in the organization. He wanted to play for an organization for his entire career with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and do the best that you could possibly do to help this team win. So, like, if you still believe that, he doubled down on this, right? Because he did this. He said that exact same thing right at the end of the year last year in September, when all those trade rumors and speculations of him not wanting to be a Blue Jay for life. He's doubling down on it this year. How much do you believe of this? And, like, do you think that he'd be willing to kind of cut a deal with the Blue Jays to stay here if Vladdy stays here?
I think that Bo Bichette had a really good night's sleep. And what I mean by that is, like when you're frustrated and when you're angry about something and when you're arguing with somebody, things will come out that you don't intend, right? You'll say things that you don't necessarily mean, that, or maybe that you do mean that you didn't want to say. And a lot of times when you have a good night's sleep, you reflect on those things in the morning and you go, well, actually, maybe that's not such a big deal. I think that last year, Bo Bichette was seriously frustrated with the state of the team and the organization, the state of the coaching, the decision-making that was going on. And I think that he made some comments that now reflecting on them, he probably regrets saying. One, because maybe he does genuinely appreciate the Toronto Blue Jays and likes the team. And two, probably most importantly, he doesn't want to burn that bridge, because just as Ross Atkins is leaving his doors open right now and saying, hey, I'm open to exploring an extension, I mean, it's just bad business for Bo Bichette to come out and be like, yeah, no, never mind, actually, I want nothing to do with them, even if he does feel that way. So I think it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. He's probably had some conversations with his representatives and been like, all right, the smart thing to do here is to come out and say that I do really appreciate them. And that might be true, but keep in mind that there is also the business side of this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't agree with you more, right? And again, it's one of those things that we're just gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens, because Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is gonna have a major impact on Bo Bichette, and I really wish we had this like secret knowledge of what exactly the Blue Jays have in plan in terms of spending. Because if they had this, just the book was wide open, Roger's giving the green light and everything, you're now the new Steve Cohen's of baseball. Then why the hell not? Because it's not like it's going to hinder you in any capacity if you go get Bo Bichette back. Because what's he going to be, 20 to 25 million per year, maybe upper 25 or 20s millions? Why not go do that?
I mean, again, like, I hear you. It'd be nice if it was that easy, but the truth of the matter is, I mean, they do have a lot of money, but I think that the results of this season are going to impact like everything.
Yeah,
just
no,
like
I agree.
Everything, right? And that's not even just from a Blue Jay spending standpoint, but you brought it up earlier too.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Jays are trash this year, does Guerrero want to extend with them? Maybe not. I don't know.
Look what happened to Bo Bichette when he struggled and was bad, and the whole team was bad. Like, this is the first time, again, I don't know about his upbringing in high school. I'm assuming he was very good. But look, this is the first time at a big league level that he severely struggled, and he hit a wall, and he was dealing with a lot of mental issues. You can't tell me that Bo Bichette wasn't dealing with something in his noggin. Like, there was obviously something there. If they go through that again, how does that impact free agency or whatever? Even Vladimir Guerrero Jr., if he has a bad year, Vladdy was riding the great year he had in 2024 and was able to kind of keep him above water. But what if he struggles and he's unsigned? Like, how does that affect his mental? We'll see.
I think that the comments that we've heard from Ross and the comments that we've heard from Bo leaves the door open enough, and I think that right now, being a new year, being a new season, we've turned a new page, right? Last year, like, it was a no-go. What happens this year is going to determine everything. So it's not 100% a no that Bo Bichette couldn't be here long-term. That option is still on the table, I think, for both parties. I would still argue that it's unlikelier than other options out there. I still think a Vladdy extension is more likely, but we're in a new place right now. And if this team plays well, positive things will come from that, right? It's positive extensions. If they play poorly, then you might see the other shoe drop.
You know what would be a really big mine-aff is if Vladdy struggles mightily like Bo did last year and Bichette has a Guerrero year. Now what do you do? That would be the biggest confusing thing, biggest decision you ever have to make. Because, like, what the hell do you do?
It's, again, and it is very tough. I know that everybody is screaming, like, just extend Vladdy, extend Guerrero. But it is tough from a business standpoint too, right? It's difficult because if he comes out and he does what he's done majority of his career, like 4 out of the 6 years that he's had are not $450 million, worthy seasons, right? So from a Rogers Communication Company standpoint, it's like, oh shit, like if he comes out and has a below 30 home run total and a high 700 OPS this year, like where do we go? And what if the team is bad? What if the team's good and he does that?
Yeah, we don't know.
There's so many variables, and that is why ultimately we've been referring to this season as kind of the last dance, because this will determine a lot of the coming years, right? Bo, Vlad, fuck, even Varsho.
Yeah,
forgot that
we haven't even talked about him yet.
You know?
Yeah, because that's actually, we haven't even talked about that yet with Dalton Varsho. That was another comment that Ross Atkins brought up in that whole thing by Keegan Matheson. Like, are we extending Dalton Varsho? That was a guy I was never thinking about extending, probably because the entire time that he's been here, I've just looked at him as a glove. He's a glove that maybe hits a couple homers here and there, maybe he hits 18 homers in a season. But what about Dalton Varsho? Let's transition a little bit. He's going to be a free agent in 2027, so we got him for 2 more years. What the hell does he to get?
I almost guarantee that Dalton Varsho is going to be here longer than 2027.
Right.
I really truly believe, and this isn't necessarily even because I want that to happen, but I think that Ross Atkins does. Like that's like one of his like big time moments. Like he put his flag in the Dalton Varsho stocks. And I don't think that he's ever going to be willing to pull it out. And to his credit, I mean, the guy did win a Gold Glove last year and, was right up there in outs above average in the entire MLB. Offensively speaking, not great. But as long as the defense is still going to be there, Dalton Varsho is going to be a Blue Jay.
Now, here's the thing. What if Ross Atkins is gone by 2027?
Then that changes.
Then it changes everything, right?
Yeah, like, of course, it's that alone is so impossible to speculate on because God only knows, like, what the new guy's mentality is going to be, right? Maybe the new guy's mentality is,
fuck defense.
Screw defense. Like, I just want, every Kyle Schwarber type of player, that's who we're getting.
Let's turn our
batting averages and everyone's got 50 home runs.
Bro, let's turn ourselves into the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's go. Let's do it, right? I mean, like, I don't even know what to put a value on him because when he'll be a free agent when he's 30 years old. And again, he plays center field. That's a very taxing position on your body. We're already seeing it right now. He's starting to have some injuries, right? He can hit home runs, but he's going to have a lot of injuries. So if he loses the ability to throw his body around in center field, what are you paying for a Dalton Varsho?
Yeah, exactly. So ultimately, like Varsho, that one's that's so far in the future. Obviously, Atkins is going to come out and say it, but it's really going to depend on the state of his defense, I think, in 2 years from now, whether or not the team is going to be willing or not willing to keep him around. Should Ross Atkins be in place and should Dalton Varsho's defense still be top tier, I would anticipate that they're going to hold on to him.
Yeah, I hear you. As long as he's here, Varsho will be here. Let's talk a little bit about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We talked a lot about him yesterday, but I think this is a good thing to bring up because Keegan Matheson went on overdrive yesterday and was talking about when he thinks Vladdy and this extension dilemma is going to be put to an end, for at least for right now. He thinks that on Monday is when we're roughly going to be hearing about the extension. And I kind of figured that because, look, I brought this up actually yesterday. If they have all this time to negotiate, just use all the time possible and negotiate up until the final day before you get to spring training. So with that being said, we are absolutely going to be going live on Monday multiple times because we got our Blue Jays Today show. Maybe we'll do one in the evening, doing a little big Vladdy watch. Maybe we'll get some guests on. It'll be super cool. But we're going to be watching for Vladdy this coming Monday. Where are you kind of at? I know you asked me temperature checks. Where are you kind of at with Vladdy?
Let me just double check. Is Vladdy? I saw somebody in the chat say that Vladdy's a Boris client. Is that true?
I don't think so.
Is that okay? He's with a Magnus something. Magnus. His agency is Magnus Sports. I'm not familiar with that. That doesn't feel like it's a Boris thing.
I think, he's not a Boris client. Thank God, honestly. If he was a Boris client, Buddy's hitting free agency.
Yeah, exactly. I was literally going to say that because that's something I never even considered. But, but apparently he's not. My understanding, he's not a Scott Boris client. Dude, I don't know. I flip-flop back and forth on this so fucking much. I'm actually going to be on Fan 590 tomorrow morning talking about this, I think, quite a bit. So at 9:30 in the morning, if you guys want to tune in, Fan 590, I'm going to be there. it's so difficult because there's so many variables. Part of me, again, if it was me and I'm Vladdy, I take the money. But his representation and himself, he might not feel that way because I also just had a thought too. It's like for him, what if we are a bad team this year? And, like, do you really want to be locked in for, a decade plus if we are
well,
a bad team?
If he likes the Blue Jays, then maybe he's willing to stick it out.
Maybe, again, and that's, that's his prerogative, right? But I could also very easily see an argument, too, where he could still love the Blue Jays, but, when it's all said and done, like, he wants to have a ring when he hangs them up. And, if he feels like we are not the best place to do that, and his buddy Juan Soto or his buddy Rafael Devers is on the phone calling him up, like, maybe you do decide to go there. There's just so many variables.
Or here's another variable I'll throw into it to argue for him staying with the Jays. I mean, we just heard it right there from Bo Bichette. They both want to stay with one organization for their whole career and win a World Series together. If that's the most important thing over money, over winning a ring with the one organization, but winning a ring with any team, if that's the most important thing for you, then get it done. And also too, because he's not a Boras client, I don't know the agency. I might be talking completely out of my ass, but like I don't know who they represent. But if they don't represent big guys and like Vladdy's your biggest ticket, why risk it? For your perspective too. Like if $400+ million on the table, and if you get hurt, that could be cut in half. Like this might be my one big payday. Let's fucking lock it in.
Yeah, I certainly hear you on that, dude. And then of course, right, it is 400 on the table, right? There's been speculation that it is, but God only knows with this stuff. Like we've heard so many different things coming out about the offers that are on the table for Vladdy. So obviously, then you're factoring in what the team is giving up and everything. So I'm like genuinely still a 50-50 at this point. That is why we're gonna be watching on Monday. Everybody doing a big time live stream. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extension watch. We might be going straight into the night because ultimately, like the deadline is midnight, so God only knows. I don't know, but yeah, I'm 50-50.
Yeah, we'll see, guys. So hit that like, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell button so you get notified when we're going to be going live. And again, we might have some guests on. I think that'll be super cool. We can get like Scott, and maybe we'll ask Jamie. Get some of the YouTube community back in here. Also, we got some other updates. If you guys want to see more videos of spring training, you've come to the right place. If you're listening on audio, sorry, you'll have to hear us describe the videos. But right now, we got an update from Eric Swanson. This is from Hazel May. Remember how yesterday, guys, we were talking about him experiencing some forearm issues? Apparently, yes, he is experiencing some soreness. He's throwing a bullpen right now in Dunedin. The quote is, got an MRI. Structurally, everything's good. I feel strong, and I'm making sure I'm going about it the right way. Swanson, not concerned, and continues to work hard to catch up. And the video right now is him just working hard right now. He's got a little back brace on, and he's throwing the outfield, doing some long toss. So, I mean, hey, if everything's good and no damage and you can get back and pitch some spring training games, then we're good. The worry about you right now is good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that bullpen is better than it was last year, but you get one injury in there and we're effectively back to where we started off the last season. So he's got to be healthy, and he's got to be the Eric Swanson from 2023. It cannot be the first half of 2024 Eric Swanson. Like, this is one of our high leverage relievers. We need you in the 8th. We need you when there's runners on and, somebody's getting into a jam. We just need you. So Swanson being good and especially being healthy is super critical.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking up right now, but did he Oops, sorry everybody. When I type any number into my computer, it just glitches and goes into all this stuff. But correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the first time he's experiencing forearm issues, or was it last year? Someone in the chat let us know, because I had like a thing in my head, like kind of like deja vu moment, like, is this the same issue that plagued him a little bit last year? If it is, like, something to note there if it's continuous,
Yeah, no, definitely concerning. If that is the case, I can't remember what it was that he was dealing with, but either way, hopefully he is going about it the right way as he claims, and is going to be good to go for opening day. He's still got a month and a half, so still got plenty of time. And the fact that he's already throwing makes me believe that he will be healthy for that. But obviously, do not injure yourself.
Also, here's something that just came up right now. I love it when we're live and you get some stuff coming up. Keegan Matheson coming out with a tweet. We got a video of some live BP. Here it is. Jose Barrios versus Bo Bichette with the no flow. That's a ball in the dirt. Ball in the dirt, right there, Jose. Yeah. Come on, buddy. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but this is about a minute 30. We could talk about this while this is playing in the background. I'm sure y'all will enjoy this. Bo Bichette, I don't know who the hell's catching. Is that Tyler Heineman? Way inside. Yeah, Bo Bichette's going to need a big year. And apparently, again, yesterday, kind of reiterating this, is that Bo Bichette looked very strong in batting practice. And that's good.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't even bring this up, but you know who also looks really strong and actually gained some weight is Kevin Gausman.
Really?
Yeah. He actually he wanted to get over 200 pounds this year, and he did.
Okay, good for him.
You know?
He's always been kind of a lankier dude. But, but yeah, getting over 200, you're throwing some weight around.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of players, when you have like Kevin Gausman's body type, especially from a pitcher standpoint, like you'll lose all that weight throughout the entire season from all the travel, all the exercise, and like you're not really getting a lot in your body. Like everyone bulks up before spring training. So this is, I guess, an attempt from him to like, build that muscle and build that body weight up and then over the season survive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's almost, it's like hibernation almost.
Yeah.
Like, but the opposite of that.
Yeah, literally. It's baseball.
Yeah, I mean, that's great to hear that Kevin Gausman's looking good. I also just want to come out and say the no flow on Bo is definitely starting to grow on me.
Oh, 100%.
So for that reason alone, maybe the extension is worth it, right? He saw Vladdy doing the short hair and decided, hey, it's my time.
That's right. Also, for those audio listeners, he just fouled one back inside. This is the last pitch. Oh, he popped it up. He's pissed.
Oh, God damn it.
He's pissed. Damn it,
Jose
Bo.
Barrios got the best of you on that one, buddy.
You're cooked. You're cooked. Let's move on. Let's look at some other videos, too, right here. Max Scherzer, the veteran guy. I got a video coming out about a little bit about Max Scherzer, but mostly about Bowden Francis. But I do talk about Max Scherzer's presence in the Blue Jays pitching staff. Here he is, talking about his fastball grip and his curveball grip. I think the way it looked like he was looking like throwing like a 12-6 curveball, but he's looking at some grips. I mean, everyone's got some different stuff. Even Manoah right there talking about how it flies off the fingers. Yeah, just a little bit of sprinkle of knowledge right here from Mad Max.
And that's what he's there for, man. Like, that's exactly what I wanted him to come in to do, is teach these younger guys, like, the best way to do it. And look at them all. Like, they're shutting the hell up, and they're listening.
They're all listening. It's a lecture. Even Chris Bassett's there, who's 36 years old, is trying to learn some things.
I mean, like, again, like, Max Scherzer is one of those guys that I think can really humble you. So, like, I appreciate him kind of taking that role early on.
Yeah.
Also, saw somebody in the chat saying, have you seen the cryptic stuff on Vladdy's Instagram?
Oh, I know, yeah, I have.
Yes, we have, everybody. So if you go to Vladdy's Instagram story, right now he's doing a countdown. He's at like some workout facility or whatever. And yesterday he posted a 4. Today is a 3.
No way.
He is counting down until he gets to this spring training stuff. And that also simultaneously is a countdown to his deadline extension. So yeah, that's literally what he's doing right now, everybody. It's a little scary because, like, clearly he knows what's going on here. He knows what's happening. And if I was the management, the pressure is coming. The clock is ticking. You got 3 days now, guys.
Yes, it is. Also, shout out to Mark Tremblay with the $6.99 dono saying, I have a feeling, speaking of Vladdy has already signed. Things are too calm. Starting to believe Bo will sign. Mark, I love that if that was true.
I love your optimism, Mark. I am almost sure that he hasn't already signed. I could believe that he is leaning towards signing,
right?
But I would anticipate, like, if they got a deal done, like, somebody's going to come out with that.
The same thing with, like I'm saying for the Blue Jays, how they're going to use all this negotiation time. Well, same with Vladdy and his camp. They're going to utilize all that negotiation time too, and there is a reality where there's a offer on the table where Vladdy's like talking to his camp, like, damn, that's actually a pretty good one.
Yes.
And I'll take it. Let's throw in one more counter, but
let's see if we can squeeze him for a bit more.
Squeeze him a bit more, but like, if not, let's take that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's face it.
That's negotiations.
People do that all the time. So, I mean, just something to note right there, guys. Vladdy counting down. He knows what all of this means, and he is going to be present at spring training in 3 days time. Also, shout out to the over 300 people watching. If you guys haven't already done so, please hit the like button and subscribe to Blue Jays Today, everybody. This might be a great transition just to give a quick shout out to one of the sponsors of this podcast.
Hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being an absolutely phenomenal place to go. If you have any interest at all in sports betting, What lines do we have today?
Oh, this still says Chiefs and Eagles. Let me go and update it for y'all. But, I mean, we're working right now. Speaking of the man himself, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I've got his home run totals. Here we go. His home run totals for 2025 by Betway. The over-under is 30.5. Over and under. Same odds. And look, he hit 30. We just looked it up last year. Do you think Vladdy was going to hit more homers than he did last year? Because the year prior he got 26, year prior 32. Like he literally, that's a great line because people are expecting a little bit better.
Exactly.
It's a great line.
Like, you feel like 30 is low, you know, like for Guerrero, and you expect him to be good. It's tough, dude. That's kind of a tough line. And the thing is too, you can't even say that by going under he's going to have a bad year. Because he went under last year and still had a great year. There is a realm of possibility where he plays every single game, still has a great season, and still goes under. It's tough.
Maybe the bias in me is saying over because, like, you know, I see it this way. A lot of those hits, you know, were translated, you know, like singles, doubles, a lot of stuff in the ballpark, just like trying to look for good contact. Maybe this year the other shoe drops, he lowers the batting average and the power goes up, and maybe some good over the wall. He's a little bit older. You know, he is on a contract year. I mean, it all depends on, does it really impact? I guess a little bit if he's unsigned or signed.
I think that it impacts the off-season prep. You know what I mean? Like if you know that you're in a contract year, your off-season prep is going to be that much more. I hope that that's been the case for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I could also make the argument though that, you know, it impacts your mental when you're in there too. Yeah, you know, you're really pushing to get, you know, to get more money.
Mental, I think, mostly it impacts. I even brought this up in a couple video rooms ago that like if he's unsigned, how will he perform? We've seen Vladdy put pressure on himself all the time.
Like some people really thrive in that. Yeah, and, you know, have incredible years in their contract season because like they're so motivated. Yeah. Whereas other guys, you know, kind of pale, you know, like fall back into it and be like, oh, like I gotta get this hit. So I make my money.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a good line. You guys let us know in the chat. Is it going over or under? Honestly, I think you'd make money more times than not by going under.
Yeah, I agree.
But I still want to go.
I'm going over. Yeah. I'm going over, man. You gotta hope, right? Also, shout out to Daniela Castro for the $5 dono saying, I think Vladdy's waiting until the very last minute to sign. And I agree. I think that's where he's at. I think the Blue Jays are kind of waiting on that to accept an offer from him. You know, like they're all kind of waiting till Monday. So again, we'll be live on Monday, hopefully for a big Vladdy watch along stream. We've got a couple other notes right here regarding spring training. We brought this up very early in the show, but Mr. Anthony Santander has arrived to camp and he's dapping up his boys. He's excited. Hopefully, they're excited. Hopefully, and look at that. That's a new angle that we haven't seen before. He's walking right into the field to Bobby Matrick Field 1. There you go. Shout out to Anthony Santander.
That's our new Teo right there, man. That's our new guy. Oscar Hernandez. That's our new middle of the order slugger. Like, God,
hell yeah.
We really need him to like do what he does.
Oh, I know.
I'm gonna be so disappointed if it doesn't work out. Like, part of me is so scared for the contract just because of like what's been going on with George Springer. But
well, the contracts, I would agree. I would argue is like way better.
Yes, it should be. Again, it should be. It's just like it's worrying because I feel like we're relying on him so much. You know?
We are.
Like if Santander doesn't put up like 35 plus home runs,
we're terrible.
We're getting cooked,
dude. That's like anybody right now. Like other than maybe the couple of the pitchers and the pitching staff, you could argue like you're okay. You can afford one of these guys to have a bad year or get hurt. But like on the starting rotation, I'm talking about. But on the lineup,
like in that lineup, like we need everyone to do better.
Yeah, if one of Bo, Vlad, or Anthony Santander is bad,
or hurt,
we're done. We're done. Unless there's some shocking breakout or two from the younger guys, but I just don't see that happening. But we're done.
All three of those guys need to be playing in 150 games minimum.
Yeah,
and having OPS is over 800.
I know.
Like, to actually have a legit offense.
Seriously, our top three needs to have OPS is over 800. Maybe you could argue Santander could be like a high 700 because that's kind of what he roughly is. But like, yeah, it needs to be up there. Let's move on to talk about a couple more videos, just a couple more reactions. Here's Jeff Hoffman. He's going to be playing some games right now for us, and in some big critical moments. He's going to be our soon-to-be closer, Jeff Hoffman. Good to see him here. And you know what I love throughout all these videos with the pitchers? You'll see him pop up in here in just a moment. Alek Manoah there he is in every freaking video. Maybe he has he sees the cameras. He's like, wants me. I don't know. I highly doubt that's the reason. But he is there watching everybody while he can't pitch right now.
Yeah, you know what? Like, credit to Manoah for being a team player in that aspect. Like, there was a lot of stuff that went on with him when he didn't want to report to Buffalo like a couple years back and all that shit, and people were getting on him. I hope that he's kind of learned his lesson from the way that he handled that situation, and it's felt like anyways since then. Even when he's not healthy, even when he's playing bad, he's going to be in the room. He's going to be in the conversation. He's going to be around. Like, he's just trying to make himself part of this team. Mm-hmm. And you know what? In that regard, like, you got to respect it, right? Because I imagine, like, it's got to be tough for him too. He doesn't want to be injured. He doesn't want to be that guy. Of course not. You know, he'd probably love it to just kind of hide away at home and like bury his head in the sand. But no, he's there every single day talking with these guys. In the room. So respect in that regard.
Seriously, I was actually going to say that I have nothing but respect for Alek Manoah. Like you could hold on to things that he said in the past. People grow up. He was a young kid. We were all that kid, younger, saying things. But you grow up, and I think he's definitely learned to grow from where he was before. Shout out to Matt Pink saying Ross can't get big contracts done. I feel the Vlad signing isn't going to happen. Well, here's the thing. Like you could say that Ross has never done a big contract like that. Absolutely. But neither has most GMs in history of baseball. How many GMs have made a contract that big? 3.
You would legitimately be like the 4th person to ever have a $400 million contract.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality.
So we don't know if he can or can't, and also too, like the whole narrative of people being like Ross can't do anything, he can't sign people, like he spent well over the budget that was expected of him this offseason.
Yeah.
Like what are we talking about?
I don't like that narrative. I think that a narrative that he spends money and makes the wrong decisions.
That's a great narrative.
You can make that narrative, until you're blue in the face, right? And depending on how this team actually does, we might continue to say that narrative. But he does actively spend money. Yeah. And in that regard, like, you got to give him a tip of the cap. But, also, Keegan Matheson just tweeted out some live BP with Bowden Francis. He's up against Bo Bichette, Dalton Varsho, and Ernie Clement.
Oh, I love it.
Love to see that, dude. Because, again, Bowden Francis is going to be huge for this rotation. Like, a lot of people are projecting that breakout to continue.
Yeah.
If you're in fantasy baseball, you might want to take him in one of the late rounds. Yes. I'm going to be looking for him. I know Adam will as well. But this is somebody that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to seriously be relying on. Not necessarily needing him to, go almost a no-hitter every other game or anything like that. But if you can give us like a mid-3 ERA and be a solid, like kind of middle of the rotation guy, I mean, that's just fucking huge.
Dude, I even think he's got the potential of becoming like literally the ace of the Blue Jays. And that might be a hot take to some, but I look at his stuff and I'm like, I don't see any reason why he can't, and I'm gonna have a video talking about this tomorrow. Check it out, 11 a.m. It's gonna be coming out, breaking down Bowden Francis and why he has a great chance to be the ace. But like, everything plays, and it's not like he's has to live on die on the edges. He throws his shit in the middle of the strike zone, and it plays so well. The splitter was a game changer. Dropping down the curveball was a game changer. Trusting his fastball is a game changer. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. He's got to make him. There's always going to be a midseason adjustment. Every pitcher is going to have to go through a midseason adjustment, if not multiple midseason adjustments. But if he can do that, there's no reason to believe he won't be a great pitcher in this league.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I am all in on Bowden Francis for 2025, as are the Toronto Blue Jays. Yeah. We also got a couple more shorter videos just bringing these up. Jimmy is out there doing some good stuff. You love to see that. He is, again, going to be critical for that bullpen. We need first half Jimmy and not second half Jimmy, because after he got traded, he was like significantly worse than what he did in the first half. Maybe that was because of injuries. You never know. But obviously, he has been very up and down, and we need him to be very, very good.
Yeah, I wonder how hard he's throwing, because that's what Keegan's saying here. He's throwing throwing the shit out of the ball mid-January. I'm just worried, Jimmy. You're not young Jimmy anymore. You gotta protect yourself. Ease into it, buddy. I know you're excited to be back with the Jays and all, but ease into it. Also, this is something to end on. Former Blue Jay. I wanted to bring this up because this isn't a good look. Marcus Stroman, and I encourage you guys to go check out the full video and play the audio for yourself on our Bad for Baseball Twitter and Instagram. But Marcus Stroman, when asked about are you comfortable being a reliever, knowing your pedigree, and he was cutting off the reporter saying, "I'm a starter. He probably repeated that 8 times in this interview. I'm a starter, and then he finished it with saying, I won't pitch in the bullpen. Because right now he's projected to be the 6th starter in the Yankees rotation. Yeah, that's it's just kind of a sad look when you see a former Blue Jay and what's happening right here. What are your thoughts on Stro?
My thoughts are he needs to have a talk with Clayton Kershaw, because Clayton Kershaw is and was and forever will be known as a significantly better pitcher and player than you ever were or ever could be.
He's a Hall of Famer. You're not.
And he might not even start. You know what I mean? Like, that's like he's on the LA Dodgers rotation where they're projecting him maybe 6th, and then it's like maybe. Yeah. So honestly, Stroman, like, I hear where you're coming from, and I understand that, you know, you've been in this league for a long time, like, you want that respect, but you got to earn it just as much as the next guy every single year. And if you don't have it, well, then they're going to give it to some guy that does.
And if you truly want to be a starter, then why don't you go start for the Miami Marlins?
Well, you could do that.
You know, like, go get traded. Like, you know, request a trade. Like, because if you're refusing to play, first of all, that's a terrible look for you. Like, you got to go be a team player. Like, you really do. And, you know, Kershaw's got loyalty to the Dodgers for being there his entire career. I get it. You don't really have any loyalty with the Yankees, but when you sign a contract with a team, that's you showing that I'm going to be committed and do whatever you say, and I'm going to give my best effort in whatever role and job I possibly have. Now, if it was in the contract that I am required to be a starter, which I don't think there is, then I totally understand. But this isn't a good look, Stro, man. Go to the Marlins and pitch, or the Pirates, or
get better.
Guy.
You know what I mean?
Get better.
Yeah, that's the thing. Look, you can be a starter if you're fucking awesome. Like, if you come out in spring training and look great, like, you can earn your spot. But that's the thing. Like, in MLB, just because you're a veteran in any sports league, like, you got to earn it every single year. Every single year, right? It's the same thing. Yeah. It's not like you get special treatment because you've been here for a long time. You got to be good enough to be the starter. And right now, he's not.
There's always a decline, Stro. Like, either you get the hell out of it or you commit to it right now. You got to find a way out of it. So figure it out, man. So anyways, that's a little other side comment. Not totally Blue Jay related, but AL East related. But that is our Blue Jays Today show, everybody. That's the latest updates on the Blue Jays spring training camp, and as well the whole Bichette, Dalton Varsho thing going on from Ross Atkins. Maybe in the future we'll see some sort of contract talk extension, but for right now the boys are focused on winning 2025.
Yeah, please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button. $3 a month, become a YouTube member. Shouldn't thank you to all of our current YouTube members. You guys are awesome.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
go Jays, go!